The following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and start getting more for as little as $2 a month.
Welcome to We Have Till 5, part of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. I am your host, Andrew Kent. With me, as always, Mr. Cole Miller. Cole, did you work on another sign-on today? Another way to say hello to people. Say hello. Let's see what you worked on this week. That is oddly enough, that's an improvement.
Wow. Thanks. Fine. Do you know what? Let's do this. Good evening, everybody. Do you know what time it is? Andrew, do you know what time it is?
What time is it, Cole?
It's time for everybody's favorite part of the show. It's time for the lunar calendar. Do you know what phase the moon is in tonight, Andrew? Today, or rather tonight, the moon is in folks, head on a waning gibbous. Did you know that, Andrew? Did you?
Well, folks, if I just want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the very last episode of We Have Till 5. It's been a good run so far. We've had some fun, we've had some laughs, and we've had whatever the hell this is. Follow Cole on his new venture, the Lunar Eclipse podcast, coming to you live from, I don't know, the Jericho Network or something. What are you even saying? What are you talking about? This is a pro wrestling podcast. Pro wrestling.
I don't know. It started one week, and you know what? Yep. Actually, if it was on Jericho's podcast, we'd probably be talking about the conspiracy that the moon doesn't actually exist.
That's fair. But what you're not understanding about recurring gags and recurring segments on podcasts and television shows, and it needs to be, I don't know, successful and well-received and actually entertaining. The freaking phases of the moon is not entertaining!
What is entertaining, though, is your reaction every week.
Well, at least the freaking fans of this podcast are getting something out of this thing. My goodness gracious. Cole, for real, man, how are you doing? Are you having a good day? If you mention the moon one more time, you're actually cut for the podcast, and I'm just going to have to do it solo, because nobody else will do the show with me at this point. Nobody. I had to pull you off the freaking street because nobody else wanted to do it with me anymore.
Wow, I touched a nerve tonight, apparently.
All right, Cole, tell us how you're doing, man. How's it going?
I'm doing well. It's getting a couple days off from work right now, and getting ready to get just doing some papers and stuff for school.
Boring, man. I hate. You know what? It's nice not being in school right now, I gotta tell you. It's nice. It's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Yeah, you had your first year of school in a long time this past year.
I did. I was trying to make my life work while doing it, and it was difficult, but I made it through, and I got some pretty decent okay grades. So, I think I'm going to return in September in some capacity, so we'll see how that turns out. You and I can cry together over the phone, as we have many times, over the stress that school can sort of bring to us. So,
is that what this podcast will be, just us complaining about school?
And talking about the friggin' lunar cycle.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's so bad. It's just so bad. Cole, before we talk about the website, before we talk about the Patreon, we're going to do it just a little bit different this week. I want you to tell everybody what it is we're talking about today on the podcast. It is your week for the list. I am really looking forward to this one. Tell us what we're talking about and what inspired the list this week.
So if the listeners remember a couple weeks ago, Kevin Owens kind of had a little bit of a character change. he came out and he started yelling at Vince McMahon for being a corporate stooge and taking television time from the talent, and it was a whole bunch of other stuff. But
it's Shane McMahon, right? Shane?
Yes.
Okay.
What did I say?
You did say Vince, but I didn't.
They're the same person.
I've heard a lot about the promo, but I didn't watch it myself, so I wasn't sure if he was yelling at Vince for Shane being on TV. So I just wanted to be clear.
No,
for
yelling at Shane. That's
for
my
our
bad.
listeners. So, sir, continue. Where did this promo go?
He was just airing grievances that are very real. He was yelling at Shane for a lot of the things that the fans are complaining about at the time. And then it ended with them cutting his mic, making it seem, at least, extremely real. So this week we're going to be talking about the top 5 promos that were the top 5 real promos.
Top 5
It's kind of a strange way of putting it.
Yeah, top 5 promos that kind of worked shoots. Some of them are actual shoots. I'm really looking forward to this list. I'm looking forward to what you put on it. I'm looking forward to kind of adding my own flavor if you haven't hit on something that I'm thinking about. All right, guys. Well, if you're coming to us here, I'm sure you're coming to us from iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher or Google Play. We thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, head on over to our website, WrestleMedia.ca. Over there you'll see guest blogs or host blogs, bios. You'll get to read some information on the host. You'll get to see when every single podcast that we have on the network drops. You'll be able to also listen to every single podcast in the history of WrestleMedia / our old moniker, the Wrestling Show Network. You'll be able to hear all of them in the archives, in the specific shows. You'll be able to sign up for our newsletter, so you'll be able to see when those podcasts drop. You'll get the news. You'll see where we're going to be this summer. We would love to bring the podcast to you, but we need some support. And for support, heading over to our website helps, but also heading over to our Patreon, patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Come sign up, give us a few ducats, put it in our bucket, and make sure that we can someday make this network self-sustaining. So there's a couple of us who could maybe, I don't know. And when I say a couple of us, I'm really saying Adam Kontov from the Wrestling Show. Let that guy get out of his real job and podcasting every single day. You can do that by signing up for one of the many tiers that we have over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Over there, you're going to get extended podcast, exclusive shows, unedited podcasts. You're going to get exclusive content. There's merch that some of our Patreons have got. There is all sorts of great stuff that you can get over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Do not hesitate. Head over there today. Head over there right now. Pause the podcast. Head over there. Become a patron and help us out with making this dream come true. Cole, get us started with number 5.
So number 5. It's happened in 2006. And it's not a wrestler, it's an announcer. Are you aware of anything that happened around this time, Andrew?
2006 was a pretty hectic time in the wrestling business. You're going to have to give me the specifics.
So this was the resigning of Joey Styles.
Talk to me, buddy. Talk to me. Refresh my memory. This one's a little foggy.
So Joey Styles was an announcer on the network, for WWE. And then he got a hold of the mic and proceeded to go on a 5-minute rant about how hard it is to be an announcer. And there's frustrations with the ridiculous lingo that he has to use. He went on for a couple minutes about how it's wrestling and not sports entertainment, whatever the heck that is. And then he was complaining about how he was pulled from pay-per-views. How after causing some troubles and airing some grievances, they pulled him from WrestleMania, and then they pulled him from the next pay-per-view, and the next one, and then he just had enough and quit on live television.
I love it. This one's one of my favorites, and it brings just like a little bit of ECW flair into the company, right? And that's one thing that I absolutely love about this one. And it touches some very specific nerves. It touches on some very specific frustrations that I have also with the current product. Anybody who's listening to Forging the Future with Jeff DeHaan on Wrestling Show, blast from the past there, on WrestleMedia.ca, they'll already know that there's a level of frustration that I absolutely have with the idea that they continue to call this sports entertainment. You know, I'll never forget that Nigel McGuinness on NXT UK, this would have been a couple months ago now, he was talking about Lou Thez and how he was a professional, he was a sports entertainer. No, he was a wrestler, man. Like, he was a freaking wrestler. Like, yeah, I can't stand that stuff. So this one.
Do you remember when Mauro Ranallo quit, was fired, whatever happened with that?
No, I actually, like, in real life?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Like the bullying with JBL?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he appeared on another... What did he appear on? He appeared on another network, like another... for another company. And he brought up the word wrestling, and his immediate thing after saying that was, and it feels really good to finally be able to say that again.
No, I completely agree. Now... I don't know if there's any other announcer slash not ring announcer, play-by-play color guy, anything like that. I don't know if there's any more like that on your list, but I do just want to take a second to talk about, some of the criticisms that Mick Foley had against Vince McMahon and the way that he did business, over the headset. And it's not an easy job. I can't imagine. And that's why I don't give Michael Crap the same crap that did I say Michael Crap?
Yeah.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. If that's not a Freudian slip after a long day of work, I don't know what is. I don't give Michael Cole crap the same amount that people do, because I understand why he does what he does, and he's quite frankly very successful at what he does because he does exactly what his boss wants. Who else would give each other crap for doing exactly what your boss wants? He does exactly what is asked of him every single time, even when he sounds like an idiot. And he does often. Yep. And so, no, Joey Styles kind of going off like that, I love, and of course it's all BS, it's all crap. It's all garbage, and it's the same issue that I do have with this Kevin Owens stuff. I love the promo. I love the delivery. I love the person who's giving it. I love all of the things about this. But the WWE does this fairly often, just to be a little bit meta. Just to be a little bit, hey, we get it. Hey, we're self-aware. Hey, we're cool. But then they never do anything about it. It's the same thing. Joey Styles going off, cutting a good promo, going to work for WWE.com. He's still with the company, and nothing changes on commentary. So, I'm this list. I'm going to try not to harp too much on that fact, but I think that's going to kind of come up a lot, because this was a great promo, well delivered, really good heat that he got from it, but at the end of the day, what did it really mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, they get them to say real stuff, but promo, not shoot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree. Anything else to add on Joey Styles?
Nope, that's it. So on to number 4.
All right, what do you got?
So number 4 is another announcer. This was the Jim Ross promo.
Hit me with it.
1996. So he gets on the mic. He's calling some people out to talk to them. He's like, but before I bring them out, there's a couple of things I have to say. I have no loyalty to any company. And then he just goes off the rails, talking about how he was one of the most sought-after football announcers before this, and he left his job to come work for the company, and his first time there, at WrestleMania, he shows up, and they're like, here's a bedsheet, put it on. So he's complaining about how he was forced to wear a toga, and that he was fired for a bit after being sick. And he even brings up, now this was one of the big parts, he brought up the current steroid investigation on Vince McMahon in a live promo.
Oh yeah, no, this was the fabled Jim Ross heel turn of 1996, which really was not super well received, if I remember correctly. But man, yeah, this was a well delivered promo, and people like to talk about when the Attitude Era started, and I'm not willing to kind of say that this is where it started. But this is certainly indicative of absolutely where the Attitude Era was going to be going, at the absolute very least. Having come out, the steroid trial in 1996, it would have been over, correct?
Yeah, probably just finished.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been over. I don't think they were still fighting, and they might have been, so forgive me if I've got my timeline wrong here, but it's, to bring it up is like, whoa, like, what is going on here? So, I absolutely, I love this one. I love this one, and this one, it led into kind of like a mild-mannered kind of work-shoot heel turn for JR that was really not really going to last, but all things considered, really positive stuff, really great promo.
Yeah, he did a good job. Brought up some. It's always interesting when they allow them to bring up real things that happened. And with this one, it makes you wonder, like, how much of it was written and how much was just them saying, all right, JR, go do...
I truthfully don't think they scripted much in the way of promos back then.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that JR had rehearsed a little bit of it himself. I'm sure that he might have worked with somebody in the back, especially Jim Ross, maybe not, he's not a promo guy, right? Now, that being said, he talks over the headset every night for commentary, so he is good at ad-libbing. He's a smart guy. He's a creative guy. I'm not taking anything away from Jim Ross, but, maybe he worked with somebody, maybe, somebody was kind of his guru, maybe somebody sort of took him, and helped him with it, but there certainly wasn't a team of writers in the back going, remember this word for word. So I think there's probably a good chunk of that was just in the heat of the moment.
Yep. And he delivered it well. Brought out some real things.
Absolutely.
Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today.
On to number 3 then. So number 3 is a little more recent. And this one is in the era of scripted promos. But this person went off script. And this was 2012, the altercation between John Cena and The Rock.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another John Cena. John Cena, as much as everybody hates him, he knows how to cut a promo.
The problem with John Cena, for me personally, has always been when he's dialed in. It's like kind of watching a Robert De Niro movie, okay? In a movie that Robert De Niro cares about and is invested in and believes in, he is unstoppable, and he is, still to this day, one of the best actors to ever live, one of the best actors acting today, okay? But the problem is, he takes too many roles and he's in too many movies where he doesn't give two craps what's going on. So, John Cena's very similar. John's promo that he cares about, when he's in a program that he cares about, man, he is unstoppable. But when he's not, it's badass, best promo in the company Cena, or he's poo-poo pee-pee Cena.
Yep.
And tonight, that night with The Rock, he was not that Cena. He was the other one, man. And this one got real. These guys have had some very real Twitter beef.
They did not like each other.
That sounds so stupid to say, but it's like a real freaking thing, I guess.
Yeah, but they did not. They had backstage heat, too. There's a clip of during this feud when John Cena and The Rock are like super close to each other, nose to nose, and they're both just like F you, and you can just read it like they were angry. But in this promo, John Cena did not pull any punches. He gets up there and The Rock's pacing back and forth, and he starts calling him Dwayne, which I thought was great. Like, just completely breaking everything. I'm not going to call you by your wrestling name. No, you're Dwayne Johnson, and you're a horrible human being.
And you know what? The only thing that hasn't aged well about this promo and about this beef that they had, both personally and professionally, on whatever level they decided it was, because, I mean, it's wrestling. You never know. Who knows? Maybe these guys maybe kayfabe was alive in these guys, right? Like, but what hasn't aged well is, let's assume that John Cena meant everything that he said, because he had done interviews where he said he really felt The Rock had betrayed the wrestling business. He was only able to move on into movies the way that he had because of wrestling, and he just left wrestling. He just left it behind, and he didn't care the state of wrestling. So then John Cena, fast forward to 2017, 2018, 2019, John Cena has done the exact same thing.
Yep.
And so if John Cena really meant everything that he said in 2012, and 2010 for that matter, it was a couple years that John was saying stuff, it makes him look a little foolish.
Yeah. I don't know, but some of the other stuff that came out in this promo still carries on.
Oh, absolutely.
The best line in the entire thing is just, I don't need my promo written on my wrist.
Oh, yeah, The Rock came out with his freaking stuff written on his wrist, and John...
Yeah, he had notes written on his arm, and John called him out.
And John ripped him apart for it. And The Rock looked legitimately, like, flustered at that, too.
Oh, yeah. So that's where it's like, I'm sure a lot of the stuff that was said before that was like, oh, he knew it was going to go there. He knew it was going to go down this road. And then that came out, and he just doesn't know what to do. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think that that came out of nowhere. That is totally and completely true, man. Absolutely. No, that's it. This was a good one. This was a good promo. I'm gonna go back and basically watch it immediately. That's a good one, because I think you're right. I think this one got pretty real, if only for that line about the promo on his wrist.
Well, just watch. Throughout the entire promo, watch The Rock's body language. and it just keeps shrinking. Like, throughout the entire thing. So I think it was a string of things that he was like, okay, you're going real. And then he brought out that, and he just stops pacing. He just stands there, and he looks defeated.
And how many people have been able to make The Rock look defeated, eh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not many people. Before we move on, though, I just wanted to bring up, this is an honorable mention, but it fits in right here. The Roman Reigns and John Cena promo of 2017.
Yeah.
Can't not talk about that one. That one was great.
Yeah. Now, here's my issue with the promo like that. Then John and AJ had similar promos, and there's been a string of people who've had that kind of like, you're the indie darling, you don't Randy Orton and AJ Styles, very similar kind of promos coming out of those people. So that's my only criticism for that. But you're right.
But watch it again. Watch the Roman Reigns Cena promo. It gets extremely real.
Oh, absolutely.
With both people poking at each other. And it's funny, you watch it and they're so Kurt Angle was in, because it was at a contract signing, and Kurt Angle's standing behind them. And if you watch his face throughout the promo, he's just smiling. And then he put on Twitter after, he's like, the face you make when you realize that it's getting real and you're enjoying it.
Yeah, no.
So this is one where
right. That's a good one.
Yeah, so watch that one. Watch Kurt Angle's face and know that he's like enjoying every moment of this, watching these guys rip each other apart. Yeah, so that one's good. Anything else to say about Cena?
No, I think we covered that one.
All right. So number 2. I love this one. Now this one's short. It's not a long promo. It's only like a minute or two long. And it didn't happen on television. And it was a couple years ago, 2016. Happened on a show that, may it rest in peace, Talking Smack. Do you know what I'm talking about, Andrew?
Do I ever?
This is when The Miz told Daniel Bryan to go back to the bingo halls.
This, I'm still legitimately on the fence about when it comes to how much they knew they were going to say.
Oh, they didn't. Both have come out and said.
Because it was, man, it was harsh. And you know what? You don't have to like The Miz. You don't have to like his style. You don't even have to like how he delivered that promo. I'm not even saying, because now that being said, I think you're wrong on all of those. If you think he's not a good wrestler, not a good promo, if you're not a fan of him, I do think you're wrong. I've been a Miz fan for a few years now, but The Miz was not wrong about anything that he said.
No.
The Miz has never been injured. The Miz has made a ton of money doing something that he loves. And he gets to do it all the time because he's never injured. Because, sure, he doesn't wrestle the hardest, stiffest, most crazy style in the WWE or in professional wrestling. But he has good matches, he gets himself over, and he never takes time off unless he's filming a movie.
No, for those who don't know or didn't see this, don't remember, what happened was The Miz was champion, and this was a talk show in 2016, which was great. It was a good show. And Daniel Bryan calls the Miz out for wrestling scared, for wrestling safe and not taking any risks. And The Miz just loses it.
And this was right at, Daniel Bryan was the GM of SmackDown. He'd been retired.
Yeah, this is before he had returned.
He was the GM of SmackDown. He was still absolutely retired, not cleared to wrestle, And he'd been retired for a good long time at this point, and
it wasn't even on the radar for him to return at this point.
No, not even close.
There were talks about his contract ending, and him going to the Indies. There were talks about that, but there was never any talk about him wrestling in WWE ever again. And the Miz reminded him of this. It was he got harsh. I don't know if he regrets as far as he went, but he realizes that he crossed a line.
I don't know, man. Here's a debate that Adam and I have had on many a We Have Till Fives, many a wrestling shows. Is there such a thing as too far in professional wrestling? I'm not sure there is, as long as you're not getting distasteful or offensive to the larger majority or to any single person group or race, religion, ethnic group. I'm not sure that. I'm not sure that was too far. I don't know. It's wrestling, man.
For a shoot, I think he recognizes, like, if it was set up beforehand, then that's one thing. But just calling him out on this, blindsiding him with this.
But I mean, to be fair, Daniel Bryan went after him first. He said, "You wrestle scared, you wrestle safe." What is the Miz supposed to do? I don't know, man. And I'm a big Daniel Bryan fan, so I'm not here to crap all over D-Bry, but yeah, this. But
I think what it's not that he. I don't know. I think he recognizes how emotional he got in it. Because if you watch the promo, he's like, the Miz is like almost crying during it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he actually got so angry that he was shaking.
Something
as
took over.
As he's yelling this. Yeah. He said once that he didn't expect Daniel Bryan to get up and leave as early as he did. So I think there was some recognition of what they were going to do, but I think he escalated it.
Yeah.
And Daniel he's like, nah, I'm out. Not doing this.
Yeah, it was awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, if there's anyone listening right now who hasn't seen it, go and watch it. Miz, Daniel Bryan, Talking Smack 2016, you said?
Yes.
Man, do yourself a favor. This one got real. Cole?
Yeah, and it's real quick.
Any honorable mentions before you roll on to number one?
Honorable mention, the whole thing with Matt Hardy and Lita.
Oh yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, when Lita was on, one that really came up. Well, so Matt Hardy brought up a bunch, like, in a promo while in the ring. And then, have you seen the video of when Lita was on Bite This?
No.
The talk show? So it was like I don't know, I think it was like produced by WWE, a little talk show. It's just Lita and this person sitting in these chairs and they're taking phone calls from people. And Matt Hardy calls.
Wow.
And just gets into it. Talking about how he loved her and he changed shows for her and that he's been having a miserable time on the show that he was on, but he did it for the relationship. And then she threw it all away for the Edge. But he's calling him by his real name, which is also... Yeah, so he just gets into it, and she's just... All you see is her sitting there, like, just having none of it.
That's a good honorable mention.
Yeah.
What else you got?
And also, anything Paul Heyman said.
That was going to be my honorable mention, was specifically a promo that you can see on the rise and fall of ECW that he did, I believe...
Is this the one at the Hammerstein?
No. This is one when ECW was still on television.
Okay.
They were on TNN, and they were having a lot of trouble with their network, and I believe they just found out the WWE was going to be coming to TNN as well, and they were very upset, and he just goes off. He just goes off on the network, he goes off on the company, he goes off everywhere. If you haven't seen that, first and foremost, what have you even been doing with your life? Not watching the rise and fall of ECW? Get on that immediately. But go check out this promo. It's awesome. Hammerstein Ballroom stuff, pretty dang good too.
Yeah, when he calls out all the guys up in the balcony. The other one was when he called out Vince McMahon and told him that his father would be ashamed of him.
Yep, Paul's something else, man.
Yeah, this was all like during the ECW, like the transition period. And yeah, he did a lot, and he said a lot of real things. So, do you have any other honorable mentions before we get to the only one that ever matters?
You're gonna get called such a freaking smark for this, but
oh, I'm letting you talk about this one.
No. This is your list, pal. I'll throw my 2 cents in. Go ahead, man. The one that sort of kicked wrestling into a new gear, man. Talk about it.
This is the one that kicked wrestling into a new gear. It changed how people talk about promos. It's the CM Punk pipe bomb.
Of course it is. And
there can't be another number one.
I'm glad you're doing this list, because if I would have made this number one, I would have been called a big CM Punk mark, and people would have crapped all over me. I agree with you, man. I think this is number one. At least from a modern fan's perspective. Because, yeah, okay, you could talk about, maybe the Austin 316 promo. Got real for very different reasons, right? Got very personal, got very controversial when it came to, taking a verse, a Bible verse, John 3:16, that is, so loved and so well known and well quoted, and sort of, technically, I mean, let's be honest, I mean, Cole, we're both seminary students on some degree. I mean, that's blasphemous, correct? I mean, is that wrong to say?
Disrespectful? I wouldn't call it blasphemous.
You wouldn't go as far as but either way, like, yeah, certainly it's essentially mocking one of the most beloved Bible verses, and specifically making, so that one got real. That one absolutely, I think, would have maybe made my list, depending on where I went with criteria. Some of the Paul Heyman stuff might have made my list, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure that there's a promo. Oh man, you know what one would have made my list that did make yours, and I don't know if it's number one or not, is Hulk Hogan's promo after he became the third member of the NWO. Because I think there was some real frustration there that the fans had turned on him, and he kind of went after them a little bit. But no, you're right. For me, CM Punk's pipe bomb in 2011 is. It was industry changing, because the WWE really hadn't done anything like this up to this point, at least in a very long time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. This is your thing, so I'm gonna let you take over talking about this one.
Oh my gosh. So yeah.
So what led up to this?
Well, it was CM Punk. He was ready to leave the company in 2001. Legitimately. His contract was up. This is, Cole, just help me out with the timeline here, because I know that you did a little bit more of the in-depth research. This was heading into Money in the Bank 2011, correct?
Yeah.
So yes, CM Punk, his actual contract was about to expire, and it was almost like the Dean Ambrose situation that we just went through, except... he wasn't saying whether or not he was resigning. He was staying very tight-lipped on the whole thing, and CM Punk was kind of unhappy in the WWE, but, I think it was still, obviously it was still salvageable at that point. So they used it, and he goes out, and He sits down, cross-legged. It was during a match, correct, Cole?
It was during John Cena versus R-Truth.
He goes out and he sits at the top of the ramp, cross-legged, and
first he causes John Cena to lose the match.
Cool.
R-Truth throws him through a table, pins him, and then as CM Punk is starting his promo, John Cena is still, like, passed out in the corner of the ring.
Who cares? Dumb babyface syndrome. It doesn't count. No, anyways, all jokes aside, so CM Punk starts cutting a promo on the WWE, and he says hi to...
Well, it starts out as a promo on John.
Yeah.
I don't hate you. I hate what you are.
Yeah.
All this stuff. And then, then he gets into...
Do you have a transcript that you want to read, or what, man? How about you just read the dang transcript, bud?
Yeah, he talks about him being a butt kicker.
Okay.
Well, and then he breaks breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. He says
waves
hi
at the camera.
Says hi to his buddy. Well, I guess it's his old friend now, Colt Cabana. You know, he one of my favorites that he does is that he says, you know, Vince McMahon is a millionaire who should be a billionaire. You know, like it was a great, honestly, it was a great promo, man. It was fun. It was harsh. It was real. It felt like something was actually happening, and man, it was happening. And that was my favorite bit. There's a reason why CM Punk is right up there as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He is tremendous on the mic. He is tremendous at selling himself. He's one of the best. Is there anything specifically about the promo you want to talk about?
He insults the fans, which is, I mean, like, that's a normal thing. Yeah, so like, it starts off pretty standard, you know, talking about Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena. Like, it's a standard promo going into it. But then he brings up Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, which was a no-no because they weren't with the company at this point. And then he, talks about Vince McMahon. Talks about the fans. And then he talks about Vince dying and how it'll be the best thing that will ever happen to the company.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's
name drops ROH and New Japan. Yeah, but that Vince McMahon dying is one of the. That's where it's like, oh dear, did he just say that?
I don't think he's allowed to say that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, people have been fired for smiling when Vince McMahon died. So throwback.
No, it was it was a classic, man.
Yeah, it talks about how the company's going to go to his stupid kids and his daughter's idiot
and his doofus
husband.
son-in-law.
Yeah.
No, I just think I think it's brilliant. I mean, we haven't seen promos like this in a long time.
Yep.
It's kind of gone.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
As somebody who is a CM Punk fan, how much of this do you think was real? Because people still argue about whether it's a work or a shoot.
Total work.
All of it.
Total work. Now, don't get me wrong. Did CM Punk mean 99?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that CM Punk was happy with the company at the time and, you know, he didn't feel anything negative and yada, yada, yada. What I'm telling you is it was a work in the fact that he didn't say anything out there. They gave him the green light. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They gave him the green light. And he probably said, hey, Vince, I'm going to talk about you dying. Vince, I'm going to call all your family stupid. You know, I'm going to probably wave to my friend Colt Cabana. I don't know. Am I allowed to do anything that I want as long as it's not illegal or you know what I mean? Like within a certain parameter, am I allowed to do whatever I want? And they said yes. In that sense, absolute and total work. I would be shocked to find anything else out. It is a live television show that they have a production truck that they could cut away from him at any moment. They could actually cut his mic before the end of the promo. You know, it's absolutely 100% a work. Did they know every single word he was going to say when he went out there? I'm not sure. I don't think that was a scripted promo. Go ahead.
I heard that Meltzer reported that like half of it was approved.
All I'm saying is that they probably knew most of it, and the parts that they didn't, he probably said, hey, listen, I'm going to say some weird stuff out there. It won't be offensive. It won't get you kicked off television. But do I have the green light to do whatever I want? And they said yes. All I'm saying is that they weren't shocked at any of the stuff that he said. I'll be very curious to someday hear the true story of that one. I can't about that on a podcast, in a book, on television, whatever it is. But I would get this guy off the air. He would have been cut. It would have been over. He would have been cut.
I'm just imagining the people who didn't know what was happening, like sitting around Vince. And he's like, the company will be better when you're dead. And they're just like side-eyeing Vince, seeing how angry he is.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. This is it's the real deal. This is a good one. I'm to hear what the rest of you think, what you listeners think. Is this the number one? What's kind of the old school view on this? There's got to be something that Cole and I, a bunch of new, that we're missing. So don't be afraid to get social with us on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever it is that you like to peruse your social media. Do not be afraid to sort of hit. We thank you so much for listening, and what we're going to be talking about next week, Cole, we kind of talked about what we were going to talk about next week, so I'm just going to jump right into it. I am a big fan of seeing Apollo Crews and Tyler Breeze back in NXT. I think it's good for their...
And Killian Dane.
I think it's good for their careers. I think it's good for their morale. So next week, we are going to be looking at 5 WWE superstars who would really benefit from making the switch from developmental brands, either NXT, NXT UK, or yes, maybe even Evolve. So that's something that we're going to be chatting about next week. Cole, you have anything? Now, don't give anything away because we're not doing it this week, but anything, the wheels turning a little bit there for you?
Oh, yeah, there's lots of them. There's a couple tag teams who I'd like to see back down there. Half of the cruiserweights.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for. I'm actually nervous to try to freaking narrow it down to just 5, but that.
Let's just make all of WWE NXT. That's what I want.
You're such a smart.
All of them. Send all of them back.
All right, Cole. Anything else to add on the most, the 5 promos that got a little bit real on live television?
Nope, just keep it real, guys.
Oh my god.
That was bad.
Gosh.
I regret nothing.
Well, thankfully, the show is over. So when it comes to 5 promos that got real on live mic on WWE television, I've been Andrew, that's been Cole, and we are breaking the hole.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything.